and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my channel if you are new here, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and stay and join our YouTube family. Today I'm actually going to be talking about my miscarriage experience that I had earlier this year. I'm very nervous to talk about this. It's very stressful to talk about something so emotional and something that I probably even haven't dealt with all the emotions yet. I have some notes here, so if I'm looking down, I'm looking at my notes because honestly, it's so hard to remember these things. And the second time around that we got pregnant, I did not take as many pictures. I did not write down as much stuff as I did the first time because I didn't want to get attached. I was so nervous about miscarrying again. So I really had to take some good notes and just put it all down on paper before I could even sit down and film this video. But I am really excited to be filming this video for you guys today and to be sharing my experience, because although it is something hard and something that sometimes I want to just bury down and not share with anybody, I think it's good to share these things because miscarriage is very common. If you're not aware, you can look up facts on the internet. 1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage, and it's very common. I just don't think I was even aware how common it was, and you never ever think that those things can happen to you. I'm just going to go through all of my notes. I'm kind of going to tell you guys the dates. I'm going to tell you guys when things happen. I'm going to pop pictures up here on the screen. I'll throw in a video clip from our first appointment that we had, and I'll just kind of talk to you guys about everything that really happened. I'm not going to go too much in depth about the actual miscarriage itself. I don't want to trigger anybody, and some of that stuff is very personal. It's very hard if you've gone through a miscarriage, you know. So I'm mostly going to talk about dates and show you guys the pictures and videos and things that I have, and then I will also talk about my experience with getting pregnant again and kind of how that's been so far. If you guys don't know and you're new here, I am 19 weeks pregnant today. When this video goes live, I'll be 20 weeks pregnant, so halfway. But anyways, yes, so let's just go ahead and jump right into this. I'll share a little bit of background about myself just so you guys can know a little bit more about who I am. So my husband Taylor and I have been married for 3.5 years. We got married on May 6th of 2017. We were both very young and we had known each other for a short period of time before we decided to get engaged. We were engaged for about 6 months before we got married. And I think it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I am a religious person, so I try to do everything spiritually, and I try to pray and make sure I'm on the right path. And I feel like getting married to Taylor was one of the best things that I've ever done. So very exciting there. We are living in Bountiful, Utah in a home we bought. We've lived here for 2 years now. We have a little puppy dog, and he is 2, and he's so cute, and his name is Brig. You may see him. He may pop up in the video. As far as just like my experience with birth control, I tried birth control pills before we got married when we were just engaged, just to kind of see how my body would react. My body's very sensitive to stuff like that, especially hormones, and my body did not like the pill. So I got off the pill, and then the December right before we got married, so December of 2016, December of 2016, I got an IUD in. I loved it. It was the Skyla, I want to say. It was a low dose 3-year IUD. I'll put the name here if I actually remember what it was. I'm pretty sure it was the Skyla. And so I got that in. Absolutely loved it. Had no trouble with it. Would definitely recommend an IUD. If you guys have any questions about that or want me to do a video about that, just leave a comment below and I will go ahead and make a video on that. Here's Puppy. He came to say hi. Okay, thank you. So anyways, after that IUD expired, I got that one taken out and I got a new one put in 2019, so just this last November. It was a higher dose and it just didn't quite affect me right with the hormones. It was kind of a bad experience. I wasn't sure if I wanted to get it. We weren't sure if we wanted to have kids yet. We were kind of on the fence about all that stuff. So I got one in just to play it safe, and I ended up getting it out 3 months later. So I ended up getting it out in January of 2020. That was a really good decision for me. I still went through some different types of emotions, and then after miscarrying, I really had to work through a lot of those emotions. And I mean, it was 6 months after I got my IUD out that we miscarried. So very crazy emotional thing, and I think mental health is so important. If you guys can go to a therapist or get some help from even family or friends, do what you can to make sure that your mental health is intact. Check on your friends, make sure everybody's doing okay. Mental health is just so important, and it can affect the entire way of your life. Anyways, so then it was January 2020. I had just gone on a work trip. Taylor and I were doing better. Things were going great. We had actually gone and done some marriage counseling, which I have talked about in another video. I'll link it so you guys can watch that video. It's a Q&A. And then COVID happened and we weren't sure if we wanted to start trying for a family. We did lots of research and we decided that we still did want to start trying for a family. So we started trying for our first baby in the middle of April of 2020. And we found out we were pregnant on our anniversary, May 6, 2020. And again, I'm looking at my notes just in case you guys are wondering what I'm looking at. And then I just didn't really feel connected with the pregnancy. It was a very odd experience. I was crying a lot. I was depressed. I didn't know if the baby was in there. We had gone to see my doctor. He was the one who took my IUD out. And so we had seen him before about mental health issues. And so they were like, yeah, come in early. We'll check and make sure everything's okay with the baby. So we bumped up our appointment and actually went in at 7 weeks. So our first appointment was June 2nd, and I will actually just go ahead and throw in a clip right here so you guys can kind of see. So if you've watched a lot of my videos, you know kind of who I am and like how I act on camera. I was very nervous, and I think like going back and watching that video and seeing it all play out, like you can tell that like things were not right for me. Like there was kind of fear. I don't know. It was a very interesting experience. And again, I should also mention, we did do ovulation tests and we did pregnancy tests, and I'll link the ones below that I like, that I was using. And so I was very into this, and this is something my own personal self that I need to work on. When I get really into something, I can go just like a little bit crazy about it. So I was very into this. I had done a whole bunch of research. I was like all about the ovulation. Like I knew what date I was supposed to be on. I had tracked everything to a T. So that's like a main part to know about that. But anyways, check out this clip and you guys will kind of see just like how I was feeling. I guess I was maybe a little bit unsure. Okay, we are on our way to our first baby appointment. I'm 7 weeks and 1 day today. We were able to bump up our appointment a little bit. So we're going a week early now, which is really nice. I'm feeling super nervous. What are you feeling?
I'm excited, a little nervous, but mostly excited.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty excited. I just don't know what it's gonna be like, and so that makes me nervous. Okay, so you guys can kind of just see how I was feeling. I was feeling a little bit unsure about the whole thing. I don't know why, and I think it was just because my baby wasn't really growing. So that was very hard for me to not feel connected to my pregnancy. You hear about these women who they just love their baby so much already, and I just didn't feel that, which is totally okay. Like if you're feeling those feelings, talk to somebody, talk to people, and see how they were feeling at those different times, because it can be totally different for everybody. We went in for our appointment, and just so you guys know too, I was trying to feel attached to my pregnancy. I was taking photos, which I'll show you here. I was taking week photos with a little letter board so that I could keep track of my belly's growth. And I did 6 and 7 weeks. Like I started at 6 weeks, so I was prepared. We go in for the appointment, and I was so nervous the whole time we were in that office. And I'd been there before, like they're so nice there and everything. And so we got in for the ultrasound, and she was like, okay, here's your baby. Your baby's really small. I will put up an ultrasound right here so you guys can see. Baby was measuring 5 weeks and 6 days, and I was supposed to be 7 weeks and 1 day, I believe. And so I was very upset. Like I remember just being so heartbroken and being like, what the heck? Like I don't understand. I tracked everything to a T. And the baby did have a heartbeat. I will put that out there too. Baby's heartbeat was 90. So very low, and the lady that did my ultrasound, so nice. She was like, don't go look up stuff. Don't go Google it. You're very early, so your baby could still be okay. Don't Google anything, but your baby's heartbeat is low. So talked to my doctor. My doctor wasn't too concerned. He was just like, you're probably earlier than you thought. You might not have had your dates right, which was very upsetting to me. I really thought I had my dates right. So anyways, we leave, and that appointment was on June 2nd. So we go home, and I just wasn't feeling, I was still feeling kind of depressed. And then we went on a date on June 5th. That was a Friday. We went out on a date and got burritos and ate them in the park. And I remember saying to Taylor that I was feeling so much better. I was feeling so much happier, and I just didn't know why. On our way to the park, I had a really bad cramp, like just one really bad cramp. And I was like, ooh, that's not right. It didn't happen again. We got home that night, I also just want to pause and say I'm so sorry if I get emotional. We got home that night and I had started bleeding. And I was so upset. I had no idea what to do. It was a Friday night. No one was in the doctor's office. I didn't know if I should go to the hospital. I had heard of people going to the hospital if they miscarried and getting a faster result then and getting an ultrasound and being able to find out. But I didn't know. And that was really hard because I just had no idea. So I called the office because they do have like a midwife or a doctor on call. And I spoke with one of the midwives there, and she kind of told me, if you're bleeding and you're filling up a pad in a certain amount of time, and just double check your facts if this is something that you're going through. I don't want to tell you guys wrong. So, but anyway, she was like, if you're filling up a pad in a certain amount of time, like that's when you need to go to the hospital or the ER, and make sure that you're okay and that everything, like the bleeding is stopping and all that stuff, like you're not over bleeding. That never happened to me. I did not go to the hospital. So I went in for an appointment on the 9th to check and see how the baby was doing. I had cried that entire weekend. Like, we pretty much just sat on the couch and cried. And every time I would go to the bathroom to change out my pad, I would just cry because I was so hurt that I felt like I had done this to my baby because I wasn't connected to my pregnancy. Which I just want to say that it's not true. And if you do feel that way, to talk to people and talk to your family members and talk to your doctor, because it's okay to not feel attached to your pregnancy. And it's okay to feel like it was your fault for the miscarriage, but it's not your fault. Sometimes these things just happen, and sometimes the way that the baby is developing is just not right, and your body just can't hold on to that baby because it's not going to be chromosomally right, and it's not going to develop into a whole baby. So it's not your fault, and I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned, is that these things that happen, they're not my fault, and I didn't do anything to make this happen, and I couldn't have done anything to change it. Sometimes these things just happen, and we just have to learn to be okay with the things that happen. So, I'm so sorry. I really was going to try hard not to cry. They gave me a couple of options. So, they said that I could go in for a D&C, and if you guys know what that is, they go in and remove the baby and any tissue in there. I didn't want to do that. I didn't feel like that was necessary. I wanted my body to try and pass it on its own. And sometimes when your body can't release that and get rid of that on its own, so you do have to go in for a procedure like that. I don't have an experience with that, so I'm not going to say a lot about it. Do your research on it if you'd like. Talk to your doctor if you'd like. But I'm not going to say a lot about it because I don't know. They also offered me a pill that I could either take orally or insert, and use that to help kind of pass everything. And so I decided to go with the pill. It's the misoprostol, and sometimes people will take that to induce labor. So definitely do your research on everything, like do what's best for you guys. But I took that pill on June 12th, and I was pretty much done bleeding by June 18th. Like, I was still kind of wearing a pad that weekend. We actually went out of town that weekend, which I really needed, and that was super good for me. I decided I am gonna just go ahead and say this. Trigger warning if you guys have had a miscarriage, or if this is not something that you want to hear, just go ahead and skip about 20 seconds or something, and we'll be done talking about it. But I did end up passing a large mass. I don't know if that was the fetus or kind of what goes on in there or how it was developed. That was very emotional. That was really hard. Really crazy experience. And if you guys have been through that, you know how emotional it is every single time you go to the bathroom, because you don't, like, you're passing tissue and stuff, and so you just don't know what is the baby and what is not. And that was really hard for me to know if it was my baby. But anyways, so I was done bleeding about June 18th, and we had gone on vacation that weekend, which was so nice to see my family. I did not tell anybody except for my parents and Taylor's parents, and our siblings, because they were really the only ones who knew that we were pregnant. We had told people about week 6. We had told our parents that we were pregnant about week 6, and we were waiting to tell the rest of our family, like aunts, uncles, cousins, and those types of people, till we had gotten farther along. Anyways, by this point I was feeling a lot better, and by this point we were praying and trying to decide when it was going to be right to start trying for another baby. Also, I wanted to just throw in there and say that everybody was so incredibly kind to us, and the people that did know brought us food, brought us flowers. Like, everyone was so kind. So if you know someone that's going through that and you know that they're experiencing that at this time, it's okay to reach out, and it's okay to send cookies or flowers or anything like that. It was okay for me, at least. It really was comforting to know that people were there for me. And Taylor's sister actually sent us a print from Etsy. I'll throw it up here on the screen so you guys can see it. It's so beautiful. We are religious, like I said before, so this was very comforting to me to see something like this and know that in my religion we believe that we're going to be able to see our family members again after we pass, or after they've passed, and that we're going to be able to be reunited. So that's something that we believe in our religion. If you have more questions, I have a video about that as well, about my religion. But yeah, I just absolutely love this photo. So beautiful. I'll link the Etsy shop below so you guys can get one if you'd like to. But yeah, anyways, so now I'm going to start talking about getting pregnant the second time, and kind of a couple of things that happened from the miscarriage that moved into this one. So I didn't really have technically a solid, like, full period. I didn't wait an actual full cycle before we started trying again, and I felt like that was okay for my body because I was using ovulation tests, and so I was testing for my ovulation. So talk to your doctor and see what's best for you guys. They did not tell me I had to wait a full cycle. They told me that I could start trying whenever I would like, whenever I felt ready. I started ovulating again June 25th through 23rd. That's kind of when I started taking the ovulation tests. And for those who are curious, my peak day, I believe, was the 29th or 28th. So they do tell you not to put anything up there except for the pills that I did, for 2 weeks after you start bleeding. And then I really didn't take any notes, which I feel so sad about now, or photos, or get like attached to this pregnancy like at all in the beginning. And I really regret that now. I mean, I kept my pregnancy test, but I didn't take like photos of them. I was trying to look back through my photos so I could get an exact date for you guys. But it was July 10, 11, 12, that weekend, that's when we took a test and got a positive, very faint line. If you guys are curious about that, I'll put up some tests here so you guys can kind of see what those pregnancy tests looked like from the first pregnancy, since I didn't take any photos of the ones from the second pregnancy. But just so you guys can kind of see the gradient. I kept really good track, and I had a video that I was going to put up, and I didn't end up putting it up, and I actually have lost the footage since, but I talked about my whole 2-week wait and like my TTC experience, which I'm sure I'll do again. I just couldn't do it this time because I just didn't want to be so attached. Like, I was so devastated the first time, and I just didn't want to be attached if this was going to happen again. If you're interested in that or have any questions for me, please let me know. I'm very excited about that and would love to talk about that with anybody. We had our first appointment with our second pregnancy on August 11th. We were 8 weeks and 2 days, and baby was measuring good. And so I was so happy about that. Baby had a very good heartbeat, and I'm probably going to call him he because we've found out since that it's a boy, but then we didn't know it was a boy. And so he was measuring really great. He had a beautiful heartbeat. Everything looked good, and I'll put a picture up here on the screen so you guys can see him. And actually what I'll do is I will put the first ultrasound here, and then from the baby that we miscarried, and then the first ultrasound here from the baby that I'm pregnant with now. So you guys can kind of see the difference in the 2 ultrasounds, so you can kind of see 5 weeks, 6 days, or like a 6-week baby would be compared to an 8-week baby. I mean, you can totally Google that online and look that up, but I'll just put mine here so you guys can see. And then in that same ultrasound, they actually told me that I had a subchorionic hematoma. And I don't know if I'm saying that right, so here's the word, so you guys can look it up if you want to. And here's my ultrasound. I'll show you guys what they're actually seeing in this. So this part here that's circled in the ultrasound, this little blob, so that is actually like a little hematoma. They kind of also called it a hemorrhage, so I don't know what the actual term is, but it's like essentially like a little blood clot or like a little pool of blood. And so that can sometimes lead to miscarriage. Do your research. Do your research. That's all I have to say. Do your own personal research for yourself. And so my doctor recommended that I don't do any exercise or anything that will make my uterus contract, just to keep baby safe and make sure that I don't miscarry. So I am now 19 weeks. I had my last appointment at 17 weeks. I was going more frequently for the appointment so they could check on baby. And I've still not been cleared for exercise, and I have my 20-week ultrasound coming up. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as my experience with my miscarriage, actually miscarrying, ovulating again, getting pregnant again, and now being pregnant again. It's been a very long, crazy experience, thinking now like that was way back in the spring and early summer, and now it is fall and we got a whole bunch of snow yesterday, and so I've like been in a Christmassy mood, and now it's just so crazy to think the way that life changes and that you can be okay after things like that. Like, it was a terrible, horrible experience, and I cried for 3 days straight. Like, my eyes were so puffy, like I could barely see out of them. I just cried for like 3 days straight, and I am feeling okay now, and I will, oh, I'm gonna get emotional again. I am still a mother, and I have a baby in heaven, and I'm hoping to get this baby now earthside, and whatever happens, happens. And so I think that being religious helped me. If you're going through this experience, talk to your friends and family, talk to your church leaders, talk to your doctor, anybody that you can to help you feel comforted. And that's really kind of what got me through it. And I am more than happy to answer anybody's questions. You guys can follow me on Instagram. I'll leave my link here. You can DM me, you can comment, you can message me. I know it's so crazy to listen to somebody else's experience. And I tried to watch some other videos, and it was really hard when I was going through the experience to watch the videos, but now I can watch people's videos and relate. So I don't know, just do what's best for you, and make sure you communicate with your spouse or your partner or whoever you're going through this experience with. Anyways, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world that you're here on my channel. Please stay and subscribe if you'd like. Don't forget to like this video and comment down below, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much. Bye.